You have given so many opportunities, so many chances by your teachers, but still some of you are taking those chances for granted. So hopefully this time, start tayo ng third grading period na makapag-start kayo ng maganda. Well, come, back. So welcome back, my dear students. So nakakalahati na tayo ng school year. So first and second grading are already done. So kalahati pa. But don't worry, kung nalagpasan natin yung first and second grading, malagpasan din natin yung third and fourth grading natin. Huwag tayo mawalan ng pag-asa. Even though yung panahon na to ay dapat usual kapag nasa normal tayo bakasyon na. But since we are in a pandemic right now, so it's just a matter of understanding the situation. So pasasaan ba at malalampasan din natin. So as long as magtutulong-tulong tayong lahat. So ang goal dapat is walang may iwan, di ba? So it's up to you now kung gusto mo magpaiwan. But as much as possible, if you can do things na para hindi ka maiwan, gawin mo na. Kailan pag gagawin kung kailan huli na. Di ba? So, even though first and second grading are already done, still yung mga nagawa mo ng first and second grading ay na mga magaganda, you just have to continue it. Pero kung may mga hindi ka nagawa during that first and second grading, particularly, specifically in second grading, dapat magawa mo na yan this third grading and fourth grading. Kasi doon na nandun na tayo, papalapit na tayo, papatapos na sa pagtatapos ng school year. So, dapat lahat kayo na mga estudyante ko ay tumaas ng level. So, dapat ma-promote kasi sayang yung taon na ginugol ninyo kung doon nyo naman naayusin pag-aaral ninyo. You have given so many opportunities, so many chances by your teachers, but still some of you are taking those chances for granted. So hopefully this time, start tayo ng third grading period na makapag-start kayo ng maganda. So it's about time to think kung gusto mo bang pumasa o hindi. It's up to you now. It's time for you to think kung gusto bang mas pataasin pa yung grades mo. So nasa sa'yo yun, it's on your own decision. So we teachers are just grading you. But the grades that we enter there, kayong may kagagawa nun. So wag hayaang maging uli na ang lahat. So ngayon pa lang, since nakakalahati na tayo, let's forget the things that you didn't do on the second grading period or the first grading period. So move on tayo, dito tayo sa third grading period at susunod na fourth grading period, dun focus na tayo. You have to focus more. You have to focus more so that you can get passing grade at least or high grades as much as possible. So yun dapat ng goal natin. So syempre, yung mga matataas na yung grades, you just have to maintain it or to make it higher. Or yung mga mabababang grade, you just have to make that grades higher. Ganun lang naman yun eh. So it's just a matter of focusing on the things that you are doing. Di ba sabi nga, kung may gusto kang gawin, you have to do it and focus on it. So it's just a matter of focusing. So kung goal mo ay makapag-grade 10, so focus on your studies for grade 10. Okay? So today is the start of the third grading period. So for the third grading period in math, we are going to discuss 2 chapters. But basically, third grading in math will focus on geometry. So geometry naman ang focus natin for the third grading period. And 2 chapters about geometry you will discuss natin for this third grading period. That is about, the first one is about quadrilaterals. The second one is about similarity. So unahin natin yung first chapter na i-discuss natin for the third grading period. So at the start of the third grading period, so we are going to discuss first the chapter about quadrilaterals. So ano ba yung sasawag natin quadrilaterals? Di ba, usually when you are asked of a four-sided polygon, the usual na sinasagot ninyo, square, rectangle, mga ganun sinasagot natin. But those are just under quadrilaterals. Those are example of what we call quadrilaterals. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss the different things that you have to know to the different kinds of quadrilaterals. Those quadrilaterals that we know. So ayun yung focus for discussion for this chapter, and also the different properties that will help us in order for us to answer a given problem which involves that given quadrilateral. So as our first discussion for third grading period, as lesson number 1, we are going to discuss, of course, introduction first about quadrilaterals, and we are going to enumerate the different kinds of quadrilaterals. So yun ang munang focus natin for our first discussion. So without further ado, so let's start it now. So let's start it by defining first terms that we will encounter in this chapter. So ano-ano ba yung mga pwede natin ma-encounter? Siyempre, pasok na dito yung different kinds of quadrilaterals na i-discuss natin, as well as the definition of quadrilateral itself. So unahin natin to define, the first term that we're going to define is of course about quadrilaterals. So we define quadrilaterals as a polygon with 4 sides. So yun yung sinasabi natin kanina. So when you are asked about a polygon with 4 sides, the usual answer that you will say is the usual answer that you will say is a square, a rectangle, a rhombus. So those are the usual answer that you will say. But I guess the best definition of a polygon, or the best answer when you are asked about a polygon with 4 sides, is quadrilateral. Kasi a polygon with 4 sides, square, sasabihin nyo. Yes, a square has 4 sides. But the best answer when you are asked about polygon with 4 sides is quadrilaterals. Kasi yung mga minention natin, square, rectangle, rhombus, those are just under quadrilaterals. Just like what I mentioned to you earlier. So that's just under quadrilaterals. So here also, we are going to, aside from knowing the different kinds of quadrilaterals, we are also going to show you, I am also going to show you a diagram of quadrilaterals. So of course, if you're going to draw a diagram, quadrilaterals is on top of it. Kasi lahat ng 4-sided polygon, ang tawag natin yun, the collective term for it is quadrilateral. So lahat ng alam mong 4-sided polygon, that is just an example or a kind of quadrilaterals. So that is on top of the diagram. Next term to define is the what we call trapezoid. So medyo familiar naman siguro kayo about trapezoid. Maybe you have already encountered a figure which is what we call the trapezoid, a 4-sided polygon na tinatawag na trapezoid. So ano ba ang definition ng trapezoid? So a trapezoid is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of opposite parallel sides. Quadrilateral, a trapezoid is a quadrilateral with exactly one pair of opposite parallel sides. So yun daw yung tinatawag natin trapezoid. So ano ba yung tsura ng trapezoid na tinasabi natin? So if we're going to put trapezoid on the diagram, so dito natin makikita yan. On the left side of the diagram. So nandun yung trapezoid. Ano yung tsura ng trapezoid? For those who do not know kung ano yung tsura ng tinatawag nating trapezoid, so ganito yun. So that is what trapezoid looks like. So may trapezoid din basta as long as meron siyang isang pair of opposite parallel sides. This side. Itong side na to, tsaka itong side na to, they are parallel to each other. It doesn't matter if these two sides are with different directions. As long as one pair of it are parallel, then we can call that chord-sided polygon as a trapezoid. So now, under trapezoid, we do have what we call isosceles trapezoid. So ano ba yung isosceles trapezoid? By the name itself, it's a trapezoid. So isosceles trapezoid is a trapezoid where the non-parallel sides are congruent. So we know that a trapezoid is a quadrilateral with one pair of opposite sides which are parallel. So yung dalawang sides ay parallel. So it is an isosceles trapezoid if yung non-parallel, yung dalawang nasa gilid, if the non-parallel sides are congruent. Kung sinabi natin congruent, they are equal in measure. So kasi in geometry, when you say the equal in geometry is synonymous to congruent. So instead of using equal, so we are going to make use of the word congruent. So, ganun yung tinatawag natin ng isosceles trapezoid. So, paano ba yun? So, in the diagram, sabi natin, that's under trapezoid. So, ano ba yung tsura ng isosceles trapezoid? Yun. So, that's how isosceles trapezoid looks like. So, these two non-parallel sides kanina, two non-parallel sides, so, dapat equal in measure yon. In order for us to say that a given trapezoid is an isosceles trapezoid. So, may encounter natin yan when we discuss trapezoid, isosceles trapezoid. And we will enumerate the different properties that can help us in order for us to solve isosceles trapezoid. Next term to define is trapezium. But trapezium, we define it as a trapezoid with no parallel opposite sides. So we can say that it's just under trapezoid. But this trapezium is a trapezoid with no parallel opposite sides. Even the two non-parallel sides, they are not the pair of parallel sides na meron sa trapezoid. So hindi rin sila parallel. So kapag ganun yung case, then we are pertaining to a trapezium. So it is just like what we have mentioned here. It is also, so sa madaling salita, if you do have a four-sided polygon, hindi ka familiar dun sa exact name of it. So that means you are pertaining to a trapezium. Kasi the usual na alam mo, square, rectangle, mga alam mo na rhombus, trapezoid. Pero kapag ibang four-sided polygon na hindi mo pa na-encounter, hindi mo alam specifically ang tawag doon ay trapezium. Because a trapezium is like a regular quadrilateral. Again, it is a trapezoid with no parallel opposite sides. Paano yun? Under trapezoid pa rin natin siya. Trapezium looks like this. So, ganito for example. So, a trapezoid with no pairs of opposite sides which are parallel. So, ganito yun. No? Kasi kung makakita ka ng ganitong four-sided polygon, hindi mo alam kung anong tawag, di ba? Hindi mo na siya sa tawag na trapezoid kasi alam yung already the definition of trapezoid. Much more of an isosceles trapezoid. Hindi naman. Alam mo naman kung anong square, alam mo naman kung ano yung rectangle, rhombus, alam mo naman. So kapag yung medyo iba sa iyo yung given figure na four-sided polygon, most probably ang tawag natin doon is the trapezium. Okay? So we're done on the left side of the diagram. Now let's proceed in the middle. Ano ba yung mga nasa gitna ng diagram? So the next term is what we call as parallelogram. Siguro medyo pamilyar tayo about parallelogram. So ano bang parallelogram? A parallelogram is a quadrilateral where both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Again, it is a quadrilateral where both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Kapag isang pair lang of opposite sides are congruent, so we are only pertaining to isosceles trapezoid. Kapag trapezoid siya, naman one pair of opposite sides. Non-parallel yon. So, kapag parallelogram naman, a quadrilateral where both pairs of opposite sides are congruent. So, a parallelogram is just like pinaslant na rectangle. Kapag yung rectangle, inislant mo, so, ang tawag na natin sa four-sided polygon na yun is a parallelogram. So, in the diagram, parallelogram is located in the middle of it. So, doon mo matatagpuan naman yung parallelogram. Again, kind of quadrilateral yan. Ng dalawang pairs of opposite sides are congruent. Tulad ito. So, ganito sinasabi natin. When you slant a rectangle, so you are going to form what we call parallelogram. Meaning to say, itong side na to, tsaka itong side na to, since they are opposite sides, so they are congruent, as well as this. These two sides are congruent. Di ba, alam mo naman yung rectangle, di ba? Ang characteristics ng rectangle, meron siyang two opposite sides which are congruent in measure. So, wala ka naman binago sa measure ng sides niya, ng magka-opposite sides. Ang ginawa mo lang, you slant it, then nothing happens with the measure of its opposite sides. Two sides which are opposite to each other. So that's why, even though in-slant siya, still, ano pa rin na malalaman natin na it's parallelogram kapag meron siyang two pairs of opposite sides which are congruent. Kasi pwede mong masabing rectangle yun. It has two pairs of opposite sides which are congruent. Pwedeng rectangle, di ba? Pero the most specific term na pag sinabi natin ganun, we are pertaining to a parallelogram. The best answer. We are pertaining to the best answer. That means when we are asked a quadrilateral with two pairs of opposite parallel sides, opposite sides which are parallel, which are congruent, so we are pertaining to parallelogram. Next, ito sa mga next natin, medyo pamilya na tayo dito. Next is a rhombus. Ano bang rhombus? A rhombus is a parallelogram with four congruent sides. So, ang rhombus is under parallelogram. But also, it's since parallelogram is under quadrilaterals, still we can consider rhombus as a quadrilateral. So, rhombus is a parallelogram with four congruent sides. Parallelogram with four congruent sides. So, paano ba itsura ng rhombus? So, basically, ang rhombus ay yung pinaslant ng square. Kapag yung square in-slant mo, so meron tayong matatawag na rhombus. Diba? Ano bang characteristic ng square? Ang square, meron siyang four sides which are congruent in measure. Diba? So, nothing happens with the measure of its sides. You just have to slant it, then we will form a rhombus. So, madaling salita, if you are asked about a four-sided polygon with four congruent sides, so the usual na ma-answer mo ay square. But the best answer to it is a rhombus. The best answer to it is a rhombus. So yun yung best answer niya. So it's not a square. It's a rhombus. So ano ba yung tsura ng rhombus? Sabi natin, ipinaslant na square yun. So ito natin nakikita yung rhombus. Yan. So, pare-parehas yung measure of its sides. So that means we are pertaining to a rhombus. Next term to define is rectangle. So ito medyo siguro, hindi na kayo mahirapan dito ha. Mahirapan pa dyan ano yung rectangle. Rectangle is a parallelogram. It's also under parallelogram with 4 right angles. Pwede rin yung square, di ba? Kasi yung square, meron din siyang 4 right angles. But if you are asked about a quadrilateral with 4 right angles, the best answer to it is a rectangle. So, parallelogram with 4 right angles. So, nakikita natin siya there. Sabi siya ng rhombus. But still, they are both under parallelogram. Next. So, ayan yung tsura ng rectangle natin. Alam naman natin na meron siyang 2 sides which are opposite to each other. 2 parallel sides, 2 pair of parallel sides which are congruent in measure. Meron siyang 4 right angles. Next term to define is a square. Alam naman natin, the usual define sa square, meron siyang 4 equal sides. Polygon with 4 equal sides. Diba? Yun yung usual definition natin nung mga elementary pa kayo. When you are asked to define a square, it's a polygon with 4 equal sides. But since you are old enough, in geometry, here in grade 9, since you are already grade 9, we define a square as a parallelogram with 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. So, try to think of it. Try to think of its definition. Ano masasabi niyo sa definition ng square? Na-mention na natin kanina yung 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. Yun yung definition ng 4 congruent sides, yun yung definition ng rhombus. Yung 4 right angles, definition naman ng rectangle. So pag pinagsama mo daw yung definition ng rhombus and rectangle, yun naman yung definition natin ng squares. Still, it's under parallelogram. Specifically with 4 congruent sides and 4 right angles. So, aside pa meron siyang 4 congruent sides, meron siyang nakaka-form din siya ng 4 right angles. So, yun yung square. So, we didn't have to anymore show you. But for the sake of to recall you on what a square is, so that's what a square is. So, meron siyang 4 sides which are congruent in measure, and meron siyang 4 right angles. So, yun naman yung mga nasa middle of the diagram. Next term to define is kite. So, ano ba yung kite? So, hindi ito yung yung pero yung shape of a kite, the usual shape of a kite. So, kung nabi natin kite, it is a quadrilateral with perpendicular diagonals and 2 pairs of distinct adjacent congruent sides. Meron siya quadrilateral with perpendicular diagonals. So, pag ginuhit mo yung diagonals of a kite, it will form perpendicular lines. Kasi namin natin perpendicular, so it produces 90-degree angle. At meron siyang 2 pairs of distinct adjacent congruent sides. So, pwedeng ganun. Pwedeng ganun yun yung definition natin ng kite. So, paano yun? So, yung kite nasa right side na siya ng diagram. Ano ba yung tsura ng kite? So, ganyan. So, itong diagonal niya, ito, tsaka ito, produces 90-degree angle. So, they are perpendicular. And meron siyang 2 distinct adjacent sides. Dalawang magkasunod na sides which are congruent in measure. Itong side na to, since dalawang magkasunod sila, they're congruent in measure. Tsaka itong side na to, two pairs of adjacent congruent. Dalawang pair ng magkatabing sides which are congruent in measure. So, ganito yun. So, baka may magtanong, sir, paano kung pare-pare sila? Be as a kite? Pwede, pero mas apun sa rhombus natin. Ay, sa rhombus rather. Tama. Mas pasok siya sa rhombus. Kasi di ba ang rhombus na siyang 4 sides which are equal in measure. So mas pasok siya doon. Pero kapag meron ka lang four-sided polygon na yung dalawang magkatabing sides are congruent in measure as well as the other two sides are congruent in measure, then we can say that a given quadrilateral is a cup. So, yan yung bumubuo sa diagram ng quadrilaterals. So, pakitingnan nyo ng mabuti yung diagram. So, lahat na makikita nyo ang diagram, ayun yung pag-aaralan natin dito sa chapter about quadrilaterals. So, all you have to do is to know everything that you have to know about quadrilaterals and the different kinds of quadrilaterals. So what other things that we have to remember in quadrilaterals, in the lesson about quadrilaterals, na pwede natin ma-encounter pa? So we do have here things that we have to take note. Una, sabi dito, the sum of the measure of the interior or exterior angles of any quadrilateral is equal to 360 degrees. By the way, since we are in geometry now, so when we are asked to measure the angles, the unit of measurement we are using to that is in terms of degrees. So the sum of the measure of the interior or exterior angles of any quadrilateral, so sa diagram na when you're asked to measure its interior nasa loob na angles, as well as the exterior yung sa labas na angles, pag mineasure natin yon, ang total, pag inad natin yon, ang total nun ay 360 degrees. So you don't have to forget. For example, meron kang, alam naman natin na ang square, meron siyang for right angle, so 90, 90, 90, 90. Diba, the total is 360. So sabihin natin, isa naging 80, isa naging 60, isa naging 70. What's the measure of the fourth angle? 80 plus 70, that's 150, plus 60, that would be 210. So 360 minus 210, so meron kang 150 degrees. So ayun yung measure of the fourth angle. So basta ang total measure of the interior angles of any quadrilateral as well as exterior angles is equal to 360 degrees. What else? Also, you have to know that the total measure of the exterior angles of any polygon, the total measure of the exterior angles of any polygon is equal to 360 degrees. Kahit anong polygon daw. Total measure of the exterior angles of it is equal to 360 degrees. What else? The total measure of the interior angles of any polygon, aside from sabi natin, isama natin yung quadrilaterals. The total measure of the interior angles of any polygon depends on the number of sides. Nakadepende yun on the number of sides. Paano? That is with the use of this formula. The measure of interior angles is equal to n minus 2, quantity of n minus 2 times 100. 80. 2 times 180, you have 360 degrees. Diba yung triangle, diba alam natin na it's the total measure of the angles of the interior angles of the triangle is equal to 180 degrees because it has three sides. 3 minus 2, that would be 1 times 180, that would be 180 degrees. Kapag 5-sided polygon yon, we do have 5 minus 2, that would be 3 times 180. So 3 times 180, that would be equal to 540 degrees. Ibig sabihin, we are pertaining to a pentagon. Diba? So again, the total measure of the interior angles of any polygon depends on the number of sides. So that's what we have to take note in this lesson. So aside from, we can define quadrilaterals. So nalaman din natin yung different kinds of quadrilaterals and also the diagram of quadrilaterals with the bonus of the things that we have to take note here. So, do you have any questions? So if none, so let's proceed now on answering some examples. But basically, we are just going to focus on the thing that we have to take note, number one. First one, which is about the sum of the measure of the interior angles of any quadrilateral is equal to 360 degrees. So since our lesson is about quadrilateral, so it would be best if we're going to focus about quadrilateral. Okay, so let's answer example number one. So as you can see, if you're going to look at the given figure, so we do have here a given quadrilateral. So if you're going to analyze that given quadrilateral, so it's a quadrilateral that not familiar to you. So hindi siya square, hindi siya rectangle, hindi siya rhombus. So sinabi natin in our discussion na kapag ganito yung case na yung quadrilateral mo is not the usual quadrilateral that you know, that means the quadrilateral given is what they call as a trapezium. So what we are going to do here is to find for the value of the variable x with the given measurement for the three angles of the given, three interior angles of the given quadrilateral. That is what we call trapezium. So paano ba natin makukuha yung value of x? So for our solution, so sabi doon sa the things that we have to take note, so the sum of the measure of the interior angles of any quadrilateral is equal to 360 degrees. So sa madaling salita, if we are going to add all the interior angles of that given quadrilateral, so we will come up with a total of 360 degrees. So for our solution, all we have to do is to add all of it, then it will be equated into 360 degrees. So it will become like this. So lahat ng measure of the angle, that would be x plus 129 plus 88 plus 56 is equal down into 360 degrees. Then isolate that given equation by adding first these three. 129 plus 88 plus 56 will come up with x plus 273, which is equal to 360. Then solve for the value of x by moving 273 to the right side of the equation. So we'll come up with x is equal to 360 minus 273. So from addition, since it jumped the equal sign, or in the same way that we made use of subtraction property of equality, so it will become minus there. So that would be x is equal to 360 minus 273. That would be equal to 87 degrees. So since we are pertaining to the measure of the angle, so the measure of the angle is always in terms of degrees. That's why if we're going to solve for the measure of the angle, you should not forget the unit, which is in terms of degrees. So the value of x there is equal to 87 degrees. So for you to check, dapat ang total niyan ay 360 degrees. So pag 87 ng x, so 87 plus 129 plus 88 plus 56 equal yan to 360 degrees dapat. Because again, according to what we have to take note, the sum of the measure of the interior angles of any quadrilateral is equal to 360 degrees. So that's how we answer example number 1. Any question? So if none so far, let's proceed to the next example. Let's have you another example. So if you're going to notice, nakafocus lang tayo dun sa trapezium. Kasi we're already familiar with the other quadrilaterals. So dun tayo sa trapezium medyo ano. And also, ito lang yung pwede nating gawin when trapezium is given. So we are just going to find for the measure of the fourth angle, given the measure of 3 of its angles. So same way, with number 1, we do have here a given trapezium with a given measurement, exact measurement for the 3 of its angles, and we are just going to find it for the measure of the fourth angle, which is denoted by the variable x. So to solve for it, just like what we did on example number 1, we know that the total measure of all the interior angles of any quadrilateral is equal to 360. So what we are going to do to solve for it is to add all its measurements that equate it into 360 degrees. So what we're going to do is just like this. So we come up with x plus 89 plus 79 plus 62 is equal to 360. Then add first 89 plus 79 plus 62 will come up with 230. So it will become x plus 230, which is equal to 360. Then move 230 by using subtraction property of equality again. So we'll come up with x is equal to 360 minus 230. And 360 minus 230 is equal to 130. So since we are looking for the measure of the angle, so it should be in terms of degrees. So the answer is 130 degrees. So if you want to check, so just add 130 degrees plus 79 plus 89 plus 62, dapat ang total niya ay 360. So did you get example number 2? So para mas maintindihan pa, let's have this example number 3. So another given trapezium in example number 3. So with the given measurement pa rin in 3 of its angles, and we are looking for the fourth angle. So just like what we did on the first 2 examples, in order for us to do that, so what we are going to do is just simply apply one thing that we have to take note right in the sum of the measure of the interior angles of any quadrilateral is equal to 360 degrees. So what we are going to do is to just simply add these 4 given measurements of the angles that equated into 360 degrees. In that way, we can find out for the value of the variable. So we have to form first an equation. So the equation that we are going to form is x plus 103 plus 99 plus 53 is equal to 360. Then we add first 103, 99, 53 by isolating that given equation. So we'll come up with 255 as the sum of it. So we'll come up with x plus 255, which is equal to 360. And again, just like what we did on the first 2 examples, move this constant term to the right side of the equation. So since it will jump to the equal sign, so the sign will change. So from plus 255, it will become minus 255. Then just simply subtract 360 by 255, we come up with 105. And still, since we are looking for the measure of the angle, so it should be in terms of degrees. So the answer is 105 degrees. So that's how we answer example number 3. So do you have any questions on the first 3 examples? So if that's clear to you, so that would be all for today. So goodbye, class! Hi mga ka-IGOP! So road to 1K subscribers na po tayo. So pag naabot po natin yung 1K subscribers, meron po tayong raffle. So yung raffle po natin, mamimigay po tayo ng 3 personalized jersey jackets, just like what I am wearing right now. So, ganito yung makukuha ninyo na jersey jackets. So, and also, I'm planning to add 5 baseball caps. So, dun sa mga subscribers natin and dun sa mga magko-comment starting from today's starting from this day na 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 vlog natin. So what you are going to do is just simply comment down below on the lesson starting this day, so that because the winners will be chosen dun sa comment section. So you have to make sure that those who commented there are subscribers of my YouTube channel. So, gagawin lang natin. So, once na-achieve natin yung 1K subscribers, right away, so, bubunutin natin kung sino-sino yung mga mananalo ng jersey jackets and 3 jersey jackets, 3 personalized jersey jackets, and 5 personalized baseball caps. So, yun yung pamimigay natin, and I'm planning to do that every time na ma-achieve natin yung milestone sa YouTube channel natin. So for now, kapag naka 1K tayo, yun lang muna yung pamimigay natin. And of course, pag nag-grow yung YouTube channel natin, syempre, the next is 10,000, 20,000, and so on and so forth. So, pamimigay tayo para ibalik yung pasasalamat sa itong pasasalamat para dun sa mga nagtitiwala sa aking YouTube channel. So sa akin bilang isang teacher also, isang vlogger, teacher vlogger. So, yun lang po. So, ano pang hinihintay nyo? Subscribe na at mag-comment down below.